It was dreaming. So I had this word, I put this word on my wall, and it was meant to be a long-term reminder, because as I said, I was on that path where, you go through what you're told you're supposed to do, high school, university, blah, 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 blah. And that's actually a wonderful dream. It just wasn't my dream. And I didn't want to wake up in 20 or 30 years and realize I had been living someone else's. So it was meant to be this long-term reminder, but what happened is every day I wake up and I see dreams staring back at me. Within 3 months, I had quit my job, cashed in my life savings, and started my first school, Kimono World Jiu-Jitsu, Canada's first, and maybe only to this day, women's only Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu academy. It's one of our old dads. And we ran that for 5 years as part of the kind of mission, and we'll talk about why this was part of, why this was the path I took. We ran more than 50 free workshops over that time, serving more than 1,000 women, teaching free self-defense. And as time went on and Jiu-Jitsu started to become more popular, the demand for co-ed classes grew, and that then became my current school, OpenMap, which, funny enough, because it started on a women's gym that was designed to be very inclusive, it just became this very inclusive gym. The first set of guys that would join the gym had to be comfortable getting beat up by girls because they were the inexperienced people. And so the vibe, the atmosphere, ended up being this really unique, positive, warm place, even though we've got world champions and all that. And in 2013, I took a few of my coaches to see a talk by the White Ribbon Campaign. Does anyone heard of the White Ribbon Campaign? So it's a global movement of men working to end violence against women. And a friend of mine, Jeff Pereira, gave a talk on how men can help end violence against women. And that kind of inspired me to get back into the women's self-defense space, and so I started Fight Like a Girl. The mission is to make free and affordable women's self-defense accessible to every woman in the world by 2030. Hands up if you think that's a good mission. Beautiful. But there's a big but there, and we'll come back to this. I want to tell you about the program a bit first. So imagine if every girl you knew had a superpower she just didn't know about. It's a pretty cool picture. That's what Jiu-Jitsu feels like, and I really believe that's the reality of it. So since 2013, we've run another 50 free women's self-defense workshops, serving another 1,000 women. Last year, we got the URL fightlikeagirl.org. We've actually not only run workshops in Toronto, we've run them in Bermuda. Very exciting, actually. March 17th, that's our Bermuda crew. March 17th, not only are we running another women's self-defense workshop here, but for the first time, we're going to be running one in Australia. We're really on the path to making this a global project. And so, why Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Why this art from a women's self-defense perspective? 3 main reasons. It really revolutionized martial arts. Hands up if you've heard of the Ultimate Fighting Championships or mixed martial arts. So this was originally it was just a place for different martial arts to test themselves against each other. And very quickly, martial artists who've never heard of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu had their minds blown because the smallest competitor had gone in and consistently, 3 people in one night, he had won basically without throwing a punch. It's been shown over and over the last 80 or 90 years to be the best martial art for defending yourself against a bigger person. Number 2, it turns close quarters situations into positions of power. And number 3, it's non-violent. A lot of women's self-defense programs will teach very aggressive techniques, poking out the eyes, hitting someone in the groin. And those are not unimportant things, but they kind of assume a stranger in an alley. But if we imagine I just have someone kind of crossing a boundary, and I want to assert my boundary. If the only tools I've been given are to poke out eyes, I have that right, but will I use it? If that doesn't feel natural to me, then I'm kind of without options. The fact that jiu-jitsu is nonviolent allows us to prepare for really just dominating our personal space. So I was going to show this video. There's a little swearing in it, so are we able to? Actually, I don't think. Maybe we'll skip the video. Hands up if you want to see a girl beating up some guys in the park. Are we able to, Drew? Oops. Oh, good. So maybe we can turn the volume down just so I don't get in trouble. So this is a girl who had maybe a few years of training. And these are just friends play fighting in the park. They heard she did jiu-jitsu, and so maybe guys are struggling to the volume down. So, one of the beautiful things about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is you see that it's not like first off, no one's getting hit, no one's getting hurt, so they can practice this kind of freely. But the beautiful thing about it is practiced as a game. And as I don't know if we'll watch the whole video, but I'll send the link so you guys can watch it later. But some of these guys actually literally go to sleep. The techniques she uses, which are very, very simple, allow her to literally, we'll go back to if we can go back to these slides. Sorry to skip the good stuff, but it's real powerful stuff. So, Fight Like a Girl's aim is to make free and affordable women's self-defense accessible to everyone in the world. It's a beautiful aim, but it really only addresses the symptoms of violence. That won't do anything for the root causes. So, any remedy that would actually make a difference would have to affect both the symptoms and the root causes. Hands up if that makes sense? Yeah. Right. So we have to ask, even if every woman in the world knew how to defend herself, why would we accept the world in which she had to? Hence, Fight Like a Man. It's a purpose-based manhood program teaching nonviolent self-defense and holistic life enhancement. We'll get to what that means a little bit more. But when we go to businesses or schools, we'll always start out with this question. So I want you to just shout out words that come to mind, either that you think a man is or is supposed to be, or society tells us a man is supposed to be. Just shout something out. Strong, tough. Speak loud, there's lots of this. Tall. Motionless, right. So these are kind of the typical things. All right, let's settle down. These are the typical answers we hear. A man is big, a man is strong, a man doesn't cry. What's the opposite of big? What's the opposite of strong? What's the opposite of doesn't cry? What's the opposite of a man? Most people say a woman. Gotcha. Can a woman be big? Yes. Can a woman be strong? Yes. Can a woman not cry? Yes. The opposite of a man is not a woman, but a boy. Hands up, that makes sense? I spoke years ago. Does anyone know who Terry Crews is? Yeah, so what a rock star, right? So he spoke a few years ago. Let's quiet down, please. He spoke a few years ago at an event, a white ribbon event, on developing better maps of manhood. I got to speak right before him, and during that talk, brought up this idea that manhood, if it's not man versus woman, but man versus boy, manhood is not a competition, but a journey. From boy to man. But was Gandhi a man? Was Hitler a man? Is it enough to strive to be a man? There's more to the spectrum. Does that make sense? Hands up if that makes sense. Right. Okay, so the question is, what would a good man do? We live in a tribe of 150 people, 75 men and 75 women, and 25 of those women were under attack. What kind of men would we be just by sitting around and not doing anything to stop it? Would we be good men? Hands up if you think no. Right. So does it matter if it's a tribe of 150 or 15 million or 7 million? If those are the statistics, those are the statistics. So that challenge has been put on us, our generation. What are we going to do about it? We have to, if we want to end violence, we have to first understand violence. Does anyone know, so in prepping for this, I tried to do some research. Does anyone know the Latin root of the word violence? I'll stop you. It's violence, which is not very helpful. Didn't really give any insights. If you think about someone punching you. What they're doing is they're crossing the line of my skin, right? Violence is crossing a boundary. Does that make sense? Hands up, that makes sense? Let's all welcome my good friend Taku. So, yeah. I'm going to have to start recruiting less handsome help. So, okay, I want you guys to answer a question for me. I'm not going to touch Taku. Different program. I'm not going to make contact. Quiet down. Hands up if you think I was crossing a boundary. This is really important. I did not touch him, and yet I still crossed the boundary. It's important that if we want to understand violence, especially if we don't want to be violent, we have to understand that some boundaries are visible, and some boundaries are invisible. Hands up if that makes sense. Right. So we can dive deep into this, and when we run our Fight Like a Man programs, we dive very deep into this and a lot of other things. But if we do not want to even accidentally, if boundaries are invisible, we might accidentally cross them. So if we don't want to be violent, we have to learn to see the invisible.